This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. We're back again. Thanks for staying with us.
Well, we want to pay tribute once again to one of our dear friends, Gale Alexander, who passed away recently. And if you've watched the show before, or if you just live in Kansas, you probably know who Gale Alexander is. Farmer, rancher out at Nicodemus, and his great-grandfather was a businessman in Nicodemus after he was a Buffalo Soldier, after he was a slave in Mississippi. Just a phenomenal story that his great-grandfather had. And Gill has just been such a generous friend to so many people, and just a remarkable man, and great connections to Fort Wallace. His great-grandfather was stationed there while he was a Buffalo Soldier, was stationed at Fort Wallace. So like a lot of people, we have a special place in our heart for Gale Alexander, and we wanted to share this story with you once again. If you missed it the first time, or if you saw it the first time, this was well worth seeing again. The story of the kidney transplant that Gil received from Rob Robinson, who has become a dear friend as well. And we love you, Gil. It all started with a turkey. Rob Robinson is a good old boy from Mississippi, a fireman in Starkville. He had been traveling to Kansas to hunt deer for 20 years when he turned his attention to turkeys. His second year of hunting, he landed the Kansas state record and bagged a 26.5-pound bird. It was actually number 7 in the world. Rob was going for the grand slam of turkey hunting, 4 different types of birds, and headed for Nicodemus, Kansas. There he knocked on the door of Gale Alexander, a 4th-generation farmer and rancher, to ask permission to hunt on his land. Gil recalled the day 3 years later that Rob returned to ask if he could pitch a tent in Gil's yard. Gil did not recall the name, but he sure remembered the southern accent, an accent that often put him on edge. Gil grew up in the 1960s, when images of the South on television were dominated by violence towards blacks. His own great-grandfather had escaped a plantation in Mississippi and joined the 10th Kansas Cavalry at Fort Leavenworth, the legendary Buffalo Soldiers. This southern boy standing on Gil's doorstep was the last person he expected to become such an important part of his life. Gil was on dialysis in the morning, cutting Milo in the afternoons. He had gone to the top of the list for a kidney from a cadaver, but Rob said, "No, I'm giving you a kidney." In November of 2012, Rob came to Kansas City and celebrated Thanksgiving with Gil's family, and Monday they headed to the hospital. The organ match, said doctors, was closer than siblings. The kidney functioned immediately. It was an emotional moment for Gil to visit Rob in Mississippi and find himself in the same county in which his great-grandfather was born a slave, just miles from Rob's home. Rob's white family welcomed him with open arms as a new member of the family. Since then, Rob and Gil have begun a new endeavor, Forever Outdoors, an organization that enables people with challenges to get outside and hunt and fish and do all those things these men have enjoyed. Rob says they welcome veterans, kids, organ donors or recipients, cancer survivors, anyone with challenges to overcome. Rob envisions a 5-star resort in northwestern Kansas someday soon. In the meantime, they have held turkey hunts and muzzle-loading shoots and other events to benefit the cause. Forever Outdoors has a Facebook page, and those wishing to get involved may contact Rob at the number or email on our screen. And to think, it all started with a turkey.
Fort Wallace was the fightingest fort in the West. Fossils, Indians, soldiers, scouts, wagons, trails, pioneers, stories. Discover the story of Fort Wallace and the people who served here, the people who fought here, the people who settled here. Wallace County, where the past is present.